Well, our moms think we're funny.
Hey everybody, this is Turk182.
And I'm Acomi.
Acomi, you know, Thanos said that he is inevitable, but why do you think he said I am inevitable?
I think because he saw from the future that he won no matter what.
Okay, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Any other reason?
Just because it made him sound like a badass. Made him feel good about himself.
Yeah, I can agree with that too.
Yeah.
I also think that the reason he said that I am inevitable is because when he came there, he brought death with him. And death is inevitable.
Yeah.
So, which makes me think, nobody likes to really think about death, except for, like morticians, because that's like their business.
And goths.
Yeah, which is, that's got to be kind of hard to be like, okay, like, oh, God, it was like, we haven't had anybody die in like days, man. It's like, I got bills to pay. Because I know they have to think about it like that. It may think, oh, it's like they don't want people to die, but yeah, they kind of do because they kind of need the business.
It's like the Kurosawa film Yojimbo. It's like the only guy in town who was happy during the gang warfare was the coffin maker. So he was like, business is booming.
I can barely keep up. It's why if you ever driven down the road where there's a funeral home, you will find banana peels all over the place.
Yeah, especially in the Mushroom Kingdom.
So with death being inevitable, and some people don't really like to talk about it, but something that you have to face, whether you want to like approach it and be like, okay, full acceptance. Okay, nope, not today. Not gonna talk about today. But no, whether you want to just like embrace it, or you just be like, in that casual, like, yeah, we're all gonna die someday thing. It was like, yeah, I'm gonna die, but I'm not really believing it today. What are you gonna say? So if you were there, if you're dying, it's not one of those where you die in your sleep, or you have like a massive heart attack, or and you can't say anything. Like, what would your last words be? And this kind of came up because I was talking to you, and I made a comment this morning about I believe it was W.C. Fields, and I mentioned like his supposed famous last words.
Right.
And and I want to make sure that I get it right because I told you one thing, and before I say it right here on mic, that I want to make sure that I say properly what his last words were.
Right. While you're doing that, can I bring up Karl Marx's last words?
The Russian guy, or the guy from the Marx Brothers?
That was one of the Marx Brothers Karl Marx?
I don't know who the Marx Brothers are. There's like Chico, Harpo,
and Groucho, yeah.
Groucho Marx, sorry. I always go back to the Lethal Weapon thing where it's like, oh, it's the Marx Brothers. Chico, Groucho, and Fucko. So...
Yeah, so I'm not a Marxist, not a big fan of Karl Marx, but I always thought his last words were very, very interesting, because they knew he was dying, so they went and asked him, do you have any last words? And he said, get out of here, last words are for fools who haven't said enough in their life.
Huh.
So, not that I want my last action on this earth to be quoting Marx, but I mean, those are pretty good last words right there.
I honestly... If your last words were something of like Karl Marx, then I'd be like, yeah, I can see him doing that.
I mean, I am just that kind of contrarian asshole to where I would quote Marx, despite not being a Marxist. But yeah, I've always really liked those last words.
So I'm looking on here, and it says that a fake epitaph was said that these things were inscribed on his tomb or whatever. But I remember like hearing or reading or something that his last words, which I guess is probably just a myth, but his last words were so what does he say, like all things being equal, I'd rather be in Philadelphia.
Yeah, yeah.
And the thing was that he hated Philadelphia and said that, he never wanted to go back there. Couldn't stand the place. It was a horrible place. He couldn't stand it. But as he was dying, he said, hey, I'd rather be in Philadelphia. Which is kind of like, if that were true and he hated that place, that's actually not a bad thing to go out on.
That's pretty good. I know there was a really terrible serial killer on death row, and his last words were "fuck you all and give my love to mother," and I like that a lot too. Let's see, there was "I told you I was sick." That was a good one.
Yeah.
I have the most peculiar headache. That's a really good one.
What's that?
I can't remember who said it, but it was some writer, some famous author, who was like, I have the strangest headache, or I have the worst headache, or something like that. So thought that one was kind of amusing. Probably my favorite. It was a general, but I can't remember what war he fought in. But his last words were, "Get your heads up, you cowards! They couldn't hit an elephant at this distance." That's definitely a big favorite of mine. So
what's that one? I don't know if it's real or not. But I've seen it here. It's like famous last words were, "What are you gonna do? Shoot me?"
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. So, I don't think I would want my last words to be something funny, but I would want, I do really like the basic message behind, last words are for fools who haven't said enough with their lives. And so, I would want something along those lines. Like, maybe, I'm not as familiar with the Apocrypha as I am with, like, the regular parts of the Bible, for lack of a better term, but there's a line in First Maccabees that's like,
with the virus protection guy?
No. What the hell, dude? That's McAfee's.
I knew I was going to get that reaction from you. I like the pause. You're like, wait. It's like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, no, there's a verse in Maccabees, which is like, listen well upon my story and be ye the judge if I have told it well, or something like that. And I really like that. Like, that's one of the only verses from the Apocrypha that I know, but that's pretty cool. Now,
I remember hearing that comedian Sam Kinison, that his last words, and if this is correct, it's I always found them rather chilling, and not like, in a horrible way, but it was just kind of like, it was sad to the point of like, it kind of, I don't know, did something to me.
Mm-hmm.
He was driving, and he's in a car with like, I think 2 other people, and I think one was like his girlfriend, time, or fiance, and like a manager or whatever, and he ended up hit a truck, or a truck hit him, and they got out, and I think at first they thought he was okay, and then he like collapsed, and they said that he was talking, but he wasn't looking at either one of them. It was like he was talking to somebody else, and his last words were, he was like, no, and now I don't want to go. Okay, fine, I'll go, and he died.
Shit, that's heavy.
Yeah, that's so, like, when I heard it, I was like, whoa, that's a lot to take in.
Yeah, that raises some questions that I'd much rather not think about.
So I've actually thought about like my last words, and like if it always really depends on the mood that I'm in when I'm thinking about like what my last words would be. So if I'm in more of like a kind of a jovial mood, then I may say like, I want my last words to be like the band from Dusk Till Dawn, be like, "Fuck you, everybody, good night." And then, but the one that I always come back to, and there's others that I have as well, that I'll mention as I remember them. But the one I always come back to is actually a line from the first Wild Cards novel, which is when Jet Boy is fighting a guy in the Zeppelin, and he's and the guy's got the bomb that's gonna basically turn everybody into, release the wild card virus and turn everybody into whatever they're gonna become. And he's shooting at Jet Boy, and he actually shoots him a couple times, and he's like, "Why won't you die?" And So in the book, Jet Boy was a young, he was like 14 or 15 or something like that. Anyway, he got a plane and like became a fighter pilot in like the war, and was really good. And then his plane went down, and they never found him. They all thought he was dead. He ended up living on this island for like a year or so until he made his way off, and then they found that Jet Boy was still alive.
Mm-hmm.
And when he got back to America, he was kind of like, he was shocked to find out there was like a Jet Boy comic book. See, given his rights to his comic book before he left for them to make stuff on, but without him being alive, like the sales weren't as strong. But they started doing all these other stories that were not like stories about him, like like fighting in these aerial dog fights and stuff, which is what he wanted. But that was during the war, and now it was different. So he was doing all this other stuff that he didn't really care for, and then he's like getting back in the world. Like everything's so much different, and he started going to movies a lot. So he was going to see all these movies, and that day he was going to go see Al Jolson, and like the Jolson story, and then all this stuff happened. He stole a plane and flew up there and attacked the guy in the Zeppelin, and he's shooting him. He's like, "Why wouldn't you die?" And Jet Boy's last words were, "I can't die yet. I haven't seen the Jolson story." And the Zeppelin blew up.
Oh wow!
And
I like that.
And because the guy he was in the Zeppelin, he was on like a megaphone. Like everybody heard that, and like in the novel series, they have this big statue to Jet Boy, and that's what's like inscribed in those statues. "I can't die yet. I haven't seen the Jolson story."
Yeah.
So, which I have no interest in seeing the Jolson story. Maybe it's just me, your boy. No, that's not me.
I mean, it could be really good. You don't know.
It could be, but the fact that I never plan on watching it,
right,
even makes it even better.
Yeah.
Last words.
That's true. One that I always wanted to do, and like now that I want my last words to be something a little more poignant, then it's not as strong a contender. But for a lot of years, I wanted my last words to be, "I have something very important to tell you." Just to fuck with everybody in the room.
I mean, like I say, if I'm just trying to be, just kind of like, just being a smart ass or whatever, I might want to say something like, like, "You were supposed to go first," something like that.
"You haven't defeated me yet."
"You strike me down, I should become more powerful than, But now, like I say, sometimes I feel like I want to say something that's really, it's going to have like a lasting effect,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But, I'm also the same guy that has already created a funeral CD.
Ah.
So, I created a funeral CD, and it's actually written on it says it's Turk182's, it's funeral, but I break it out to FUN dash, and then I put like a little F, fun fur, and then all, like CD. Have I ever shown you my CD?
No.
Yeah, actually.
It's just pop goes the weasel at increasing tempos every time.
No, it's got like Another One Bites the Dust on there. If I can't have my Viking funeral like I want, then I want the Incubus song "Pardon Me," "Pardon Me While I Burst into Flames"
Very nice.
when I'm having the Viking. Yeah, so it's got songs like that on there.
See, I just want to be stuffed and mounted up on like with an animatronic arm, just to like give people one last high five, so they can all like line up and high five me.
I thought about like I'd have to have a partner in this, obviously, but like at the funeral and the coffin, like halfway through the ceremony, just some kind of remote trigger, and it's like boom, 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 boom. Let me out! Let me out! This isn't funny.
This is not a dance.
I'm begging for help. I'm screaming for help. And I mean, because I have a problem with funerals, which is, and this is my biggest problem with funerals. And how many funerals have you been to?
Too many.
Okay, so I was about to say good, but I don't mean good. I mean
awesome. High five. Yeah.
Right.
Like 6 or 7, man.
Yeah, in the funeral club, just like me. But I do have an issue with funerals, and my issue with funerals is that a lot of them I've gone to, it's the pastor, reverend, preacher, whatever. It's he sees that, or they see that as their time to get everyone else to go to church.
Right, right.
Like, he knew his time was coming. He knew, and he got himself right with the Lord. It's time for you to get yourself. Like, no. I'm here. I'm not here for that. Every other Sunday that's not today, right? I'm there for that.
Right.
If I show up at all. But today, I'm not here for that. I want you to say something nice about this person and tell me they're going on to a better place, that they're looking down from me, which I know that hasn't happened yet because that's been Judgment Day, and that they're all just sitting in limbo, but I'm going to believe that they immediately just got up to heaven, and then... So, but I don't want you trying to tell me to get right and to come to church next week. And no, stop that.
Right,
it's not your time. That's the same thing as if my cousin gets up there and then starts telling everybody about, and I look down at him and he looks peaceful. And the reason he looks peaceful is because, he used a lot of vitamin supplements that he bought from me. And I have these supplements. They're really cheap. And
Vitamin Larry. Come on down to Vitamin Larry's Vitamin Porian.
Right. No, that is not the time for you to sell your shit. It's not my funeral. Whether you're trying to sell God or vitamin supplements, Mary Kay, Amway,
Yeah. What gets me is when you know better than the shit that people are saying at a funeral. Where it's like, he was a good man and a loving father. It's like, no, he was an abusive cocksuck.
Yeah.
Like, I knew this guy. No.
And I've told you, and I think I've told other people as well, is that at my funeral, you were only allowed to say the truth. Well, first off, you're not going to be hurting my feelings because, they went, I don't have any. And the ones I did went away when I died. So you're not going to be hurting me. And... It hurts me more, my memory more, for you to lie about shit than to just tell the truth.
Oh, yeah.
We had good times, we had bad times, Sometimes he did this I didn't like, sometimes he did that. Now, it's not your dime to get up there and be like, and he never once paid for weed. That's not the time.
My mama.
That's not the time for that. But you can be like, yeah, he wasn't always the nicest guy. Sometimes he'd be a bit of a dick, but in the end, obviously, he was my friend, or else I wouldn't have come here. Now, if you read about me dying in the paper and you show up there and be like, hey, look, I didn't really like the guy. I saw the thing in the paper. He was kind of a dick, and I wasn't even sure if he was really dead. So I just wanted to come here and confirm, yep, he's dead, right? And I'm going to say, I know a lot of you guys are upset, but for me, I could not be happier. I'd be fine with that. Be like, hey, at least this person's telling the truth. And hey, at least you showed up, right?
I'm going to stage a raffle, and the winner gets to shoot my corpse to make sure I stay dead.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So actually, I had this thing. I was like, they have the reading of the will before the funeral.
Yeah.
And then the one person they get all my worldly possessions, right? Well, not all. Like I have to give some to the other people, but like you get everything else. But you have to complete one task for me.
Nice.
And then it's a sealed envelope that you cannot open up until the funeral. And
homework assignment.
Yeah, and then when they open it up, and it's not an envelope, it's going to be like a box. And when they open it up, there's a note inside along with a hammer and a stake, and it goes, "You have to drive this into my heart to make sure I don't come back."
I like it.
So, but the funeral's like. I don't want anybody to lie about me. Just tell the truth. And I don't really understand the whole point of like coming there to like make people sad. Like it shouldn't be a sad occasion. Yeah, I understand that you're sad, but why get a bunch of people together just to commiserate? I mean, that's not right.
Yeah, it doesn't really help.
No, it doesn't. So I want it to be kind of fun. I want it to be something when you think back on it that you're gonna be like, oh, yeah, they died, and you don't automatically start getting sad, but they died, and then you think back to the funeral like, oh my goodness, the funeral was something else, and here we are, you're about to cry, and then all of a sudden you hear like, and another one died, and another one busted us, and you're
gonna set up a karaoke stand at your funeral.
Uh,
Maybe I'll finally release all of my never before released art at my funeral. So like everybody can see all my like drawings of like Pikachu sucking Sonic's toes.
I thought you were gonna say like the thing with Wallcrawler, but like now we know why he died.
I'm glad I didn't have his teacher.
I thought you were gonna say something like that, where you would like be like, "Shit, I'm surprised he didn't kill himself earlier."
I like that it's just a given that I killed myself.
No, not that you did, but the fact that like if I looked at it as like he should have killed himself, like long before he died. And part of the reason why I feel this way is that I've been to some bad funerals. I mean, obviously a funeral is bad. They get very few times where you be like, man, I like, you have no idea how happy I am right now. But most of the time it's like, I'm sad that this happened and it's unfortunate.
I've got a few people where I'm just like counting down the days.
Yeah, but you're probably not going to go to a funeral, are you?
No, but I'm going to shit on their grave.
Really?
Well, Amber Heard will.
Now, for Amber Heard, his thing, funeral prank.
Lifts up the veil. Be sure to smash that like button.
Everyone's gathered and they go to open up the coffin so people can come by and pay last respects. And they open it up and there's nobody in there. It's a big piece of shit. And they look and like the corpse is propped up in the front row. And,
like you got heard.
And she gets her guys a microphone. Y'all just got heard. Boom.
No, I don't think I would ever shit on someone's grave, but I would definitely dance on a few graves.
I saw this thing. I didn't watch all of it. I just watched the very beginning because I kept seeing this documentary come up, and it was on this musician. I can't try to think of his name now. He was one that they'd done an episode of on crap. What's that? I can't remember.
Just an obscure little lesser known band that nobody's heard of called Nirvana.
No. And turns out, he really did have a gun. Somebody said that because of the one song, and I remember somebody read that and it was like he lied to us. Yeah. Now I apparently this person has they have some serious followers. Like they're like the people that follow this musician and all their all their stuff. Like they have some serious followers that apparently still visit this person's grave. And they will Disgraceland.
Oh yeah, Disgraceland.
Disgraceland did an episode of them, and this is the guy who kept saying that he was going to commit suicide on stage.
Yeah,
and then finally did ended up dying, and I think he died of accidental overdose. Anyway, so because of all of his antics and stuff, and there was this documentary about him. Because of all his antics and all that stuff, the fans that find his grave will go and they will kind of desecrate his grave. They will spray paint on it, or shit on the thing, or pee on that kind of stuff. Wow. Because that's the kind of shit he did in at his shows. He would vomit on people and do it, and they would cut himself and bleed on that. And so it was and I remember I just watched the beginning of it, and it was after because I didn't know who the person was. I kept seeing the documentary come up, available to watch, and I didn't know who the person was. Then I listened to that episode of the podcast, and oh, I know who this person is. So then I just curiosity, I just watched the very beginning of it, and it was his mom was there, and she was cleaning up the gravesite. She was talking about how much she hated the people, wish they would show respect and stop, doing this to his gravesite and stuff. And I'm in their minds, they are showing respect because this is kind of how he acted and what he wanted. And if it was just an act, right, they don't know that. Right. At no point did you ever, they say this is an act. You see most people, whether it be Alice Cooper or Rob Zombie, they're going to be like, yeah, that's an act. That's something I put on stage. You know what I mean? Because Rob Zombie, the guy in the makeup and stuff, is not directing films. That's that's Rob Zombie in the cowboy hat without the makeup. Kind of the same guy, but less makeup.
Similar but different.
Right.
Damn, his wife is hot.
So that people they're paying tribute to him in the way that they think that he would want.
Mm-hmm.
And then the mother started talking about like what a nice person he was and how he was. And I'm like, yeah, not from what I heard in that podcast. And again, that podcast is not the be all end all of this person's life, but I was like, yeah, from what I heard and the way they died, and you you can't lie about the stage show performances. I mean, people saw that, so
right. There's a track record for
right.
that.
So the antics that he pulled, I'm like, yeah, no, not really. Not really the sweet young boy you remember from like 30 years ago. So I actually turned after that. It's like I can't suffer this.
Yeah. Well, a lot of parents are gonna tend to like look at their kid through rose-colored glasses.
And I hate that too. I hate that, especially when the kid turns out to be a piece of shit. I mean, you can say, hey, there was a time when my kid was like the best thing in the world, and I'll always love them because when I think about them, I don't see the stuff that you see. Only thing I can ever see is just like the sweet little boy or girl that did this and did that. But I know, obviously, it's a proven fact that they used to throw kittens off the roof of a building or whatever it is that they did. Like they were when the police caught them, they had a sack full of kittens, and like the man from like St. Ives, and he had one in his hand. He was dangling off the edge. It's like, your turn now, blanket. And I was like,
there were 3 dead kittens at the bottom
right.
of the building.
So I'm not gonna say that. No, not my kid. Obviously.
That's the thing. It's like it would look so much better on these parents if it would be like, that was a side of them that they kept hidden from me, and it's disappointing to realize this is the truth. Just don't deny what's like clearly right there in front of you.
And I saw it in some movie. I'm trying to think what it was. And the guy went to the funeral to like pay his respects or something, but it was like, hey, like your dad, or I think it was the dad, like was a piece of shit, and like the person's daughter like slapped him and was like, you're an asshole. I'm like, no. That's the thing. Like, especially for like someone that you work with, like a supervisor, and it's like at home, and I don't understand these people at all. At home and with their friends, they're like the greatest person ever. They're sweet and they're kind, and like and all this kind of stuff. But you don't see them in their quote unquote natural environment, to where they treat people like shit, and and those people hate them because you never see that side of them. Mm. So when this person's like, no, they were a piece of shit, instead of be like, like, you're a liar, be like, you know what? Since I've never seen them in that environment, I don't know how that would be like Patton's wife, General Patton's wife being like, no, the greatest thing is, in all the wars he was in, he never had to kill anybody. I don't think there's any other general out there that can claim that. Like, they can all claim it. It'll be bullshit, just like it is for him.
Right.
So it's just people have to. I think people should just accept the fact that the person that is not the person that everybody knows.
Right. Yeah.
And so going back to it, like don't come to my funeral just be like he was an asshole. Like one day I was sitting there and I was just like, spare change, and he was like, fuck you, get a job, right? and I was like, that made me mad. So he's an asshole. Spare change, anybody? Like, don't come there to do that. But again, tell the truth. That's all I want. But yeah, anyway. So again, part of the reason why I last words and like funerals and stuff is I do want something memorable for my last words, and I want them to be something that not something that's gonna make people cry every time they think about it. Right, and his last words were, I regret that I have bone-itis, So in that Futurama episode we were watching earlier, the guy never actually got the cure for his bone-itis. He took over the company and then went around, and then all of a sudden his bone-itis starts acting up, and he goes, my one regret is that I have bone-itis, and then he died. So that would be a funny thing for me to say, like is that. But I don't want it to be something where like like as I'm dying, I like look over and I'm like, I wish I had told you I loved you more often. Like no, that's like the wrong thing to say.
This knife in my chest really hurts. That'll be my last words. Even if that won't be what I die from, that's going to be my last words.
I think my last words would no. My last words would be closer, honey, closer. Don't touch me, motherfucker. But the paramedics trying to save your life. No.
Everyone betrayed me. I'm fed up with this world.
Now my it's like, you should probably know I slept with your sister. Maybe, yes, I could be. You never. Oh.
Or did I?
Yes.
That you die.
Right, and then she'll look over and she'll be like, "Yeah, I know because I caught you in bed with her right now when you had that heart attack." But no, it's something something like that would be. I don't want it to be that moment. People always want to use that moment to like say something that they think is going to be so endearing, but really it just like pulls at the heartstrings, and where the person never wants to think about that ever again. Everything they do, then they start getting all mopey and shit.
Yep. I'd love to do something that like keeps people guessing for a long time, like for God's sake, stop Larry or something like that. But I don't know if there's anything that would like really prey on people's mind long enough.
Why am I hard right now?
I never realized death could be so arousing.
It's like, oh, shit, it has been after 4 hours. Fucking daylight savings time. But
I mean, you know the rule: if you stay hard for more than 4 hours, have your wife call her friends.
It's like, bitch, you ain't doing the job. Yeah, I think for right now it's still gonna be Jet Boy. But I'll probably come up with something else, like, because like I said, I have a couple of different ones. It really depends on the mood I'm in. I'm like, yeah, that'd be a good one. Yeah. But as far as the funeral goes, I've been to so many bad funerals where, again, it's like, one is like, this is my time to try to, like, put more money in the coffers by telling everybody to go, just to use this to prey upon your sympathy and your weakness and think like, am I living the right life? I did, like, when I stepped into the church, I did, like, I was like, oh, something hurt. And like, it became harder and harder to, like, to get to the churches. And the more closer I got to it, I was like, man, I'm having trouble, like, getting in here. Like, someone's pushing me back. And I want people to, like I said, just kind of, have as much fun as you can. Like, not to be like a cry fest, because nobody likes that. Nobody likes to see a bunch of, like, snotty ass people with, makeup running and shit like that. No, I mean,
I want nothing but positive affirmation at my funeral.
I'll give you positive affirmation. I'm pretty sure you can't get out of this. I treat you like CB4. Where's my money, motherfucker? Where's my money? You owe me money.
There we go. At my funeral, I want somebody to just like start punching my corpse and screaming, "What's the frequency, Kenneth?"
Oh, there you go. It's like, where is it? Where's the key? I knew you had it somewhere. I just start like ripping the outfit open. Where's the commissioner? I just grab your coffee. Swear to me.
Yeah, it's definitely confirmed. I'm gonna die before you. Like 100%. There's no question of that.
And when I get there, say a couple words and be like, I've lost a part of myself. He was one of my good friends, one of my best friends. But I told him, I was like, early on, that it'd be very painful for you.
I told him over and over, don't stick your dick in that. He just wouldn't listen.
But I have been to some bad funerals. So I went to a funeral in the South, and I was younger. I went to a funeral in the South.
All
and
the funerals I've been to have been Southern funerals.
Well, this was like further south, like 2 states, maybe 3 states further south than where we are now.
Ah, okay.
At a really small church in the summer, and like back off it's like this one of those old like every generation of those people's family went to this church.
Right.
So this building's been around for like over 100 years, and it didn't have air conditioning.
Oh, yeah, that's miserable.
Oh yeah, and this was one of those services that went like almost 3 hours.
Of course.
And so I'm sitting there, and I'm young. And of course, I'm young. I'm getting bored real fast. Like
Right.
I'm bored before we get there. I say really young. I'm like, I don't know, maybe 12. So not super young, but still 12. Going to a funeral for someone I kind of knew, but not really. Like I knew them, but we never had any like long, deep conversations. Like he always asked me if I like gladiator movies, but he never showed me any. So to me, it's just kind of like, okay, well, when are we gonna watch those gladiator movies? Okay, I don't know why no one has to be home, but whatever. So. So yeah, again, it's like, yeah, I want to be respectful, but at the same time, I'm bored, and it's 3 hours in the freaking like southern summer heat.
Oh yeah, when you're a kid and you have to go to a funeral, it's just the most miserable experience ever.
Yeah, and Game Boys weren't a thing, so not that you would really be able to play one, and because people like. Can't believe she let her kid play that. They bring that thing here. It's like the funeral. Like, what would you expect me to do? Like fidget like shit all over the place. So,
man, when I was a kid, like you couldn't bring a Game Boy into the building, couldn't like draw on the programs or anything. It was just like a miserable experience.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, but as a kid, the books in church to read suck.
Oh yeah,
you either have the Bible or a hymnal. That's it. It's like I don't read the Bible in Sunday school. I get those little colorful like handouts that say that they like rotate like every 3 years. It's like
yeah.
It's like, and then Jesus went up to him and said, hey, like, would you like to be one of my guys, and let's go out on the boat and look at me, I'm walking on water and picking up fish. Like I mean it. It's the same ones with like a different artist. They just swap out.
Always a really bad artist too.
Yeah,
like really cheap watercolors.
God, those things are horrible. And then they have like the really bad like games in the back, and it's like fill in the blank. It's like who was it that brought together like all of the disciples? And it's like J blank SUS.
And then it's little activities like draw yourself keeping the 10 Commandments. It's like, well, I guess I'll just draw a stick figure. Not a smiling stick figure.
They'll have like two like blank slabs there, and it's like write down the 10 Commandments you can remember. Like you got 2 on there.
It's like something Sabbath.
Yeah, it's like I know don't kill and don't steal. Yeah, that's all I got. Don't kill and don't steal.
I mean, those are the important ones.
I don't know why when I was 12, why my Sunday school teacher kept harping on the one commandment about like coveting your neighbor's wife. I'm like, why is that such a big deal for you, lady? Like I don't even know what covet is. Like I'm 12. I'm like I keep getting like covet like a combination of like cover and duvet. Like is that what it is? It's like a blanket and a bedspread together. Like yeah, it's like
Now, why do guys like you and I know what covet means?
Right. It's essential. Hunter-gatherer is the word. No, it's like I don't even like having a covet on my bed. I mean, I gotta roll the thing back every night because it's heavy as shit, and it's like gets way too hot under that thing. Like,
and every time she like talks about that commandment, she always like thumps on the ceiling with a broom and like yells it to the upstairs. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife.
Yeah. And she was like, and she would always
Gerald.
She would always come behind me and like put her hand on my shoulder and be like, and don't forget, don't cover the neighbor's wife. And then she'd like pull her hand away slowly, so just her fingertips like kind of like, I'm like, okay, whatever. It's like, why is it called Sunday school for a meeting on Wednesday? You know? And where are the other kids? Like, oh, okay, whatever. But so there's nothing in the church for a kid to read, like during a funeral. And if you bring your own book, it's not like you can get comfortable. You know, like when as a kid when you're reading, like you get like the most awkward ass positions. Like,
and if you go to like an old like Southern, like deep South funeral, then it's gonna be a hardback pew anyway.
Yep, no
like,
cushion,
no cushions, because cushions are for pagans.
And because there's no air conditioning, they had the windows open, right? Which obviously is like it's either turning into like a sweat box or just have that nice hot air breeze flowing through.
Yeah, which lets in all the tarantulas and the murder hornets and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And when I say deep south, I'm talking like the trees outside had Spanish moss growing on them. Like that's the kind of like deep south I'm talking about. And dude, I am not making this up at all. This is a true story. Like hand to God. And then they had those and I know you've probably been to one. They've got the little fans, they're almost square with the rounded corners, but then they kind of dip in on the sides with like the wooden paint stirrer as like a So it has those.
They take advantage of child labor to make those. like during vacation Bible school, they have all the kids make 1 million of them so that they can pass them out to the members.
Right. That's it, exactly.
They got like really shitty Thomas Kincaid paintings on them of lighthouses.
And and then like maybe has like the name and location of the church on it, and then on the back it has like some kind of like random Bible verse.
Some Bible verse that really does not convey anything to you right at that moment.
The one that you read over and over again, you still can't make sense of, is like, "Come up to me, those who are lost, if you can find thy way." Like, wait, what? wait, really read it again. "Come unto me, those who are lost, if I can find thy way." Like, wait, what? It's a riddle. Yes, I'm going in search of Jesus' gold.
It's like you look up the verse and it's just like, and Judas went out and hanged himself. What? Well, what's this verse? Go out and do ye likewise. What? Whatsoever thou doest, do it quickly. What is happening? What kind of church is this?
And the next one's like, thou waiteth.
Tarry not. What? No, I don't like this.
Just because I'll live for an eternity doesn't mean I have all day. So
1,000 years is like a day unto me, but my patience weareth thin.
So here's the thing: using one of those little paddle like fans, doesn't help if hot air is like what's coming in. So like you can swing that all day long. It's not going to make the air any cooler. And just like blowing hot air on yourself does not. Okay, so example. Right now, just put your arm up in front of your face, and then just blow on your arm. It's like, that does not make you any cool. Like, God, who's blowing hot air on my arm? Like, so miserable. They're listening. Everyone's getting up there, and I'm sitting there, and we kind of sat in like on the one end. So we're sitting on the right side of the church, facing facing the podium, and we sit all the way on the far end, so right next to the end aisle, the wall, and then the window's there, right? The open window with the hot air blowing in, so I can get all the hot air first before it gets to everybody else. Because I'm greedy like that in a funeral. I'm like, who's getting all the hot air now? Oh, wish you was sweating like me. Has anybody else seen nothing but purple? So then a couple people come in and like, do you mind if I sit here on the side? So we end up scooting over and sliding down and stuff. And next thing you know, I'm in the middle. And a rather large woman comes in and sits next to me. So this is going to sound racist, but I can say it and you can't. But this is going to sound racist, but it's not racist. It's just the truth. Again, in the summer, church, like a old southern church with no air conditioning, in the South, rather large black woman, she's going to start sweating, quite a bit in a 3-hour service.
Right.
And she's going to start probably a good half hour before the rest of us do. So we're sitting there, and I'm sitting there next to my mom. And again, I'm trying to stay, like, I'm trying to listen and stay focused. People get up there talking about stuff and saying things about, the person that I don't really know. And they're like, you know what I'm talking about, don't you, Ron? Right? It's like, yeah. I mean, if this is only something you and Ron know, then you guys can talk about this shit later, right? And I never did get that $5. So we're sitting there, and again, I'm trying to stay away because again, I can't really fall asleep because it's way too hot for that.
Mm-hmm.
So then someone comes in late, and they come in crying. Oh, Lord George. No, not the deceased real name. Oh, George, why'd you have to die? Well, George had been in the hospital for like 2 weeks before he died. And you just came into town yesterday. So don't give me old George, right? Like you care so much about him. Oh, George! And then they start walking down the aisle, and it's like that. Like, you ever seen James Brown when he can't do anymore? And someone starts walking him off stage, right? And then he starts walking, and then he falls down. And it's like I gotta help him up. He's So she starts walking down the aisle, and then and she just collapses. Oh, George! Right? Okay. So Georgie's girl, like, she gets a thing, and I was like, oh, okay, there's that. Then someone behind me, I think they were directly behind me. All I hear is, oh, jeez, Lord, jeez, oh, jeez, oh, Lord, jeez, oh, Lord, oh, God, jeez. Just nonstop, right? And then
finally Jesus goes, what? Hi.
It's like, you couldn't wait till a commercial break? So then the rather large woman next to me, right, she's like, oh, God! And she starts shaking and jumping, right?
Oh, boy.
And so I start moving closer to Mom. And all of this is bullshit. It's all acting.
Mm-hmm.
They're all just putting on this act in this front because it's a funeral. Time for me to show out.
Yeah.
Now, I've been to a couple...
And everybody was able to keep it reined in until this first person started doing the shit.
Right. So, like, oh, shit, bitch, you ain't gonna upstage me.
How dare you out-grieve me?
Yeah, it's like, I know how to show out at a funeral. And so the large woman next to me, now she starts shaking and everything, like she's being scanned, right? But she starts like jumping too, which is why I started moving over. So I got her like popping and locking next to me. And then I got, oh, Jesus in the back of me. And I still got the Georgie like in the aisle across from me. I'm like, and even as a kid, I'm like, I wasn't even thinking the F word back then, but I was thinking like the most equivalent version of like, get me the fuck out of here. And here's the thing, though. I didn't know it was going to be 3 hours long. The pamphlet thing, the handout doesn't say it's going to be 3 hours long. It's like, this person's going to get up. Like, 5 people were supposed to get up and talk. Like, 12 people got up and talked. I mean, oh my God. And it was long and hot and just like, I mean.
It's always like just people trying to tell funny stories.
Yeah. And again, I've been to, a few black funerals, been to some white funerals, equal mix of black and white funerals. Not that they're technically like different, right? But depending on the individual and, their family and stuff, you see different things. So at some funerals, you go to them and the people go there and they're dressed nice and, some people wear jeans and a t-shirt, which I'm not really quite sure. But at the same time, like, I don't really need to dress up, right?
Yeah.
I should be able to come just casual, to pay my respects. So, if this is how you knew me coming up and coming in there dressed all up with a tie and stuff, one, it's not like you're going to know. You're not going to know. So, you're not going to know that, like, Kenya like that. And it's like, but this is how you're used to seeing me. So any other way, it really is kind of disrespectful to you if I showed up any other way to your funeral. Like,
right.
Like, why? Come on, why are you trying to put on airs?
I want everybody to wear the robes and masks from Eyes Wide Shut for my funeral. So
just the robes and masks.
Yeah,
you'll have like a clothes check person at the
yeah,
like underwear too. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's not going to be an orgy there, so don't get the wrong idea.
I hope not. I just right in the middle of my funeral, I'm going to play "Goodbye Horses." That's the song that James Gum danced to in Buffalo Bill danced to.
Oh yeah. See just how many people do like Jay does, like, ooh, takes out the chapstick.
I think what would be funny at my funeral is like as you're playing the music stuff, and then all of a sudden you hear "Change places." But so like so you have different kind of people that show up. Whereas the viewing is one thing, and then you've got like, if I'm going to go to the funeral, do I really need to go to the viewing?
Yeah, I've always thought that, like, if you really want to communicate to their family, then, like, the viewing is a little bit preferable.
But wouldn't I do that afterwards? Because normally after that, don't they, like, which is really the only, let's not lie. Let's not lie. And for me, Acomi, everybody out there listening, just tell the truth. Even if you're listening to this podcast alone, just admit the truth to yourself. Yes, you are sorry this person died, right? Whether you knew them, let's say in this instance, right? Because it's easier to acknowledge them when you don't really know them that well. So even when like the person, someone that you really knew and really cared about, and they were important to you, right? The main reason you came to the funeral is because if you don't go to the funeral, you can't go to the
potluck.
Yeah, right. I was gonna say dinner, but like you can't go to the food afterwards.
Yeah.
And really, that's what you want. You want to be there so you can get that special homemade fried chicken that the only one person does and only makes for funerals. They won't make it for funerals. Right. Not for a birthday, not for graduation, nothing else. They'll just make that for a funeral.
Or like those people who make the little like beanie weenies in the barbecue sauce.
Yes.
They only do it during funerals.
Right. And then they break out the desserts. So let's be honest. You don't get that by just going to the viewing. Right. You have to go to the funeral, and then afterwards, and we're all going to meet downstairs in the basement of the church, to talk and and celebrate and have some food. And it's like, and that's what you've been waiting on. And so I mean, let's just be clear, because if you came to pay your respects, you can do that anytime.
Yeah, you can just do like Rorschach did and like, pin a rose to your lapel and go to the grave after it closes.
And see, that's another thing too, like the whole grave thing. I even talked about this with my mom because I'm telling her, like, hey, just want you to know that when you die, like this is kind of how this is going to work here. Like, well, one, she's not going to be buried, but if she was going to be buried, I'd be like, so don't expect me to like come to like your gravesite to talk, because like you're not there. Like right, I'm not actually, you're not there. I can talk to you anywhere. And I'd be like, hey. And she said she wanted to be cremated, and I was like, okay, cool. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put you in an hourglass, and like once a week, I'm going to turn it over and be like, all right, you got an hour, talk to me, baby. And that's just, and if you think I'm joking, I'm not. She is going in an hourglass.
That's kind of cool. That's pretty metal, actually. So we're almost out of time for this podcast, so I've got to end this with a hypothetical for you, okay? Okay, so you're on your deathbed, right? You're surrounded by your loving wife of 40 years and your kids. Acomi's been dead for like 15 years.
Okay.
You thought he was going to do it in with the ketamine bender, but it wasn't. He crossed the wrong furry, finally.
He's out on racehorses, for Christ's sake.
So, you give your touching last words to your family that will like impact them and change them forevermore. And you close your eyes, you feel your spirit leaving your body, you open your eyes, and your hands are crudely drawn ballpoint pin outlines. All the colors you see are just smeary Crayola colors, and you hear a voice say, "Oh, welcome to Quickville, Sancho will show you around." What do you do?
I find a way to kill myself. I mean, because apparently Hinduism was the one I should have been following all along, and I have now been reborn in this world. So like I just like yeah, I'm just gonna roll the dice, man. Maybe I'll get a cow next. I don't know, but anything. And it's just like,
Yeah, according to Christian, the afterlife, you just go to Quickville, and if you die in Quickville, then you're just dead for good. You're just dead. So,
well, then I would have to be like what's my man's name from Dogma, and he's like, this if this happens, then there'll you'll basically like wipe everything out of existence, and he's like, nothingness
right.
is better than being in hell.
There is that.
Was Wisconsin that bad? So yeah.
So you wouldn't even give Quickville a chance.
Well, here's the difference between me and you. You would, because you could just troll the entire time. You would just troll him.
I would have so much sex with Sonic Recolors.
Yeah, no.
I've been a Acomi.
I don't think I could. And this is why I'm going to have my body parts replaced with, cybernetics.
Just in case the afterlife is actually Quickville.
Yeah, just, and eventually, like, once it's like, we cannot replace anything else, any more of your body, then I'm going to be like, okay, then just upload my brain into, into the internet. I'll just be like Ultron.
So you would rather be on Reddit and 4chan for the rest of eternity than Quickville?
There's a lot of subreddits on Reddit. So there are places I could go. I could go hang out on R-Busty like all day.
That's true. You can see a lot of porn.
Which way really sucked because I couldn't be able to do anything with it with my digital hands.
Yeah.
Oh, I could be like Job from Lawnmower Man.
Lawnmower Man is in your brain now.
So I went to, just because this is going to be the last thing. Went to dinner with my crew of guys, most of my IT guys, and it was breakfast. We went to breakfast one day, and somehow the thing of Lawnmower Man came up, and JD was saying, like whenever, because he does like a great Matthew McConaughey impression,
yeah,
and so he was like one to put Matthew McConaughey in Lawnmower Man instead of Jeff Fahey. And then he's like in that scene where they're flying around in like the VR.
Yeah.
He wanted to replace that with that one song. So when he's flying around, it's going, I'll say, look around your world, pretty baby.
I like his version better.
All right, everybody. It's Turk182.
And I'm Acomi.
And we catch you all next time. Zang, yo.
Later. I have something very important to tell you.
Me?
Did you hear what happened?
All right there, folks. That was Our Moms Think We're Funny. Let's give them a hand.